Hello, and welcome to the Schmidt List, the podcast for people dedicated to managing successful projects, developing impactful products, and building engaged teams. And now, here's your host, Kurt Schmidt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. One of the more difficult tasks a product manager has is to influence without authority. Today, Anne Steiner of DevJam joins me to break down how to be successful doing that. And then also we talk about the continuing education of the product manager and, of course, all things agile, as we do. So here's my conversation with Anne. I hope you enjoy it. Anne, thanks for joining me today on the show.
Thanks for having me, Kurt.
So tell me about how you got into what the industry of technology and design and what you're doing these days.
All right, cool. So as I was coming out of high school, I had no clue what I wanted to do, man.
What?
And, yeah, like
that is
none.
so rare.
I know, right? But you know, it's funny. When I was 18, it felt like everyone else had it figured out, and now as an adult, I talk to people, and we're all still trying to figure it out. But you know, I kind of wanted to go into journalism at the time. I really liked writing and stuff, but I had the opportunity to work at my local newspaper in a very small town in rural Wisconsin, and I knew that our sports editor with a college degree was making $6 an hour, and I was making $5 an hour. So I figured that might not be a good long-term career path. So I decided to major in computer science instead. Wasn't really sure where that was going to lead me, but it's kind of funny because today I'm making a couple bucks an hour more than $6 an hour. And most of what I do is write.
Well, at least you're getting paid.
Yeah.
And some of us, are still working at that. So.
Oh, whatever, Kurt. But anyway, I started out as a front-end developer, worked as a developer for about 10 years, and then realized that I kind of wanted to talk to people and get a little closer to the customer and the customer problem. Really like helping people and seeing the impact of what I do. So I worked my way into product management. I started out as a technical product owner, working with the teams, writing stories. That transition coincided with when my company decided to switch from a traditional methodology to an agile methodology. So I was kind of born into product management as a technical product owner. Then from there, just kind of climbed the ladder a bit in product management, got to lead my own products, ultimately got to lead my own product line, and have P&L responsibility and stuff like that. And after that, I was getting a little burned out on it. It's a tough gig, and my hat goes off to product managers everywhere because the only job I ever had that seemed similar to that was when I was a kid. I used to umpire baseball. And being an umpire is a lot like being a product manager, Kurt, because you got to make a call based on what you think is right. You're going to take in the environment around you. You're going to try to understand what's going on, and then you have to make a call. And in umpiring, no matter what call you make, whether you're right or wrong, you're going to piss off half the people.
Yeah.
In product management, it's a lot more. Decided to take that a different direction. I had an opportunity to switch up my career, and that's when I ended up at DevJam as a product coach. And kind of since then, the rest's been history as I've been working with different clients, had the opportunity to take on harder and harder, more complex coaching engagements at DevJam, and here I am today, leading the organization.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been a crazy run, and I am thankful I did not go into journalism.
Yeah, right. No, this sounds a little bit more exciting than sitting and writing all day, right? I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe when we're all older, right? We write that book that we said we're always going to write.
Yeah, I don't know about the book. I don't have the attention span, but it is fun getting paid to watch baseball games and take pictures.
Sure. So let's talk about that transition. Do you feel that being that front end developer and then moving into that leadership role made it easier for you to communicate with your teams about the work that was happening, even if it wasn't front end work necessarily?
Oh, absolutely. It was a double-edged sword. I definitely, as a product manager, had very strong relationships with technical teams. I knew enough to, call BS on stuff, but also to respect when it was a real issue. Issues like tech debt, refactoring, those types of things. Understanding the importance of that for the long-term health of the code base were always things that I could bring to the table as a product manager and to advocate for those things for my teams. I came from software. I understood how software was constructed and best ways to do that or not do that. The flip side of the coin was a lot of product managers are going to come from the industry that they serve. They have often been the customer. They have more empathy for the customer. Personally, I felt that not having that personal experience caused me to listen more, caused me to learn more, because it was the only way I was going to be able to gain that perspective. I also didn't as much fall into the trap of, well, when I did this job, this is what I would want, but my relevant experience was 10 years old, that type of thing. I would say it did hurt me professionally at times, though. I was seen by other product leaders, superiors of mine, as being too sympathetic to engineering.
A technical product manager, right?
Yeah, too technical, too tactical, too sympathetic to engineering. You're getting bullied by them. I don't know. You know me. I don't get bullied that easily. No. I don't think that was necessarily the case. But, these are some of the things we all deal with as product managers. It's such a hard job. There's such a full stack of skills that you have to have that I don't think there's too many individuals bopping around that have them, and as I sit today advising CPOs and VPs of product, I tell them to create a product management team that has that full stack of skills. Don't hire all the same people, all the ones that are just like you, or I want everyone strategic, or I want everyone technical. That team together needs to complement each other and have that full stack of skills.
Talk to me about that DevJam process around that coaching and what you do. If I'm listening to this show and I'm like, I could use some help in the product area, what's some ways that you at DevJam help those people kind of create that product team?
Yeah, sure. So DevJam's really been helping teams build product in a better way since probably about 2007. Our roots are very much in the technical. Traditionally and largely still today, nobody can be a coach at DevJam if they don't have experience working as a developer on a team, understanding that. Now, our founder, David Hussman, dude's a visionary and has been for a really long time. And what David...
One of my favorite people.
Yeah, and a lot of fun. But what David saw a number of years ago was really like, hey, the industry's starting to get this process thing. We get the mechanics of iterating and stuff like that. We're getting better at some of the technical practices that are just so paramount to making sure that your code base and your tech stack itself can be maneuverable. But the missing piece is still kind of the product side. How do we figure out what to build, what order to build it in, and then whether these guesses or these investments are having the impact that we want in the market? So then how do you measure that value iteratively throughout time so that you can pivot and adjust? And forcing people like us as product managers to really own, I'm not probably going to be 100% right. In fact, I'm not right. So let's make some small bets and then let's see where we should invest, therefore, going forward. So at DevJam, a lot of what we're doing as we work with product teams is like bringing them in too. There's still some places where we're seeing there's this separation between product and engineering, or in the harder environments, it's called the business and IT.
Yes.
So first we want to bring them together, get them working together as a single team that's bonded around product versus us and them. And then often we might help a product team by helping them to take something from an idea or maybe a bullet point on the roadmap and work that through a set of practices that's going to help them to gain more understanding so that they could get to something that's more discrete and smaller, maybe a user story, a set of user stories, or an ordered backlog that can be fed into a team. But doing that in a manner where that big picture product vision isn't lost, working it from the idea of the customer problem down versus from the technology up. So many times I see teams that are just taking an idea and just kind of taking a sledgehammer to it and trying to break it into smaller rocks, and ultimately that product story gets lost and all you got is gravel. So we teach just a number of different practices that keep the user in the forefront, keep the story and the greater picture that you're trying to do in the forefront, but allow you to iterate and to layer value over longer periods of time. And then lastly, and I think this is something that is really shifting for our clients and the people we work with over the last couple of years, but we've just been having some really cool opportunities to come into some organizations working exclusively with their product teams, helping with strategy, helping with roadmap, helping really in that sense of how are we going to measure the impact that we're having.
And the vision, right?
And the vision, and just working one-on-one with product managers that are growing in their careers. And I've been doing a ton of that work, and I really, really enjoy it because I see people facing so many of the struggles that I faced. And even if we can't completely solve the problem for you, just to tell them that we understand what you're going through, because we talk about being empathetic to the developer and the customer and stuff, but we're not always as empathetic to our product folks, and those guys and gals have a really tough job day in and day out.
Let's talk a bit about when you're coming into some of those organizations. You know, us at Foundry, we work with a number of organizations as well where they are kind of siloed or departmentalized, and where I've seen those challenges, and I think this is kind of where you were talking about, is they're using each other as a service, not as a larger product team. What are some ways that you would coach people on kind of breaking that norm? Like, what are some of the first steps that you've seen that really work?
Yeah, the first thing that I try to do is we want to understand what's going on today. So we're going to look at that SDLC from end to end and figure out what that present state is. That service model, it definitely happens. Another thing that I'll typically see is there'll be handoff, 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 handoff. And it's like the kids' game when we used to play telephone in the circle, you know, like in preschool, is that message is going to change on every single handoff. So we seek to reduce those handoffs by bringing people together. Also, you know, one of the big things is let's align to product. What is that thing? And it doesn't necessarily have to be software. It might be a service. It might be a blend. It might have nothing to do with technology. But what's that thing that we're coming together to build or to provide that's going to impact people? That's our product. So let's start there. Then let's organize some people, you know, around that can really be a part of that thing, be the advocates for that thing over a long period of time. Traditionally, we've organized around projects, but projects have a start and an end date, and then everyone disperses. If we're in a product mindset, we're not gonna be having that. We're gonna keep people together. They're gonna gain product knowledge. They're also gonna gain a sense of pride and knowledge of their customer that they serve too, which we didn't have that in a project model where everyone's gonna disperse in 6 months.
Right. And then if you're coaching a product manager, let's say I'm listening to Anne, and this all sounds great, but you know, I'm really the only product manager right now. It's a smaller organization, and but I'm looking for help. I'm looking for resources. What are some of the best ways that I can do that? Is it getting out in the community more? What would you suggest?
I think there's a ton of different things you could do. I mean, it'd be neat to be a product manager in that type of environment that you just described, Kurt. It'd be a tremendous amount of responsibility, but that person gets to make a huge impact with, you know, from his or her seat on the product team. The things that I did to learn back in the day is just like, first of all, just jump in with 2 feet and do it. Right. Don't hold back. Don't wait till you've read every book. Just go ahead and do it. Yeah, you're going to make some mistakes. So what? You're going to make some mistakes moving forward. I took the pragmatic marketing course back in the day. It really helped me a lot because I was coming from the technical and the tactical, and that is more of a strategic market focus. So it challenged me to think more about that. Also, kind of during the same time that I was transitioning from development to product management, I completed my MBA. So that made me a little more business focused too. Some of the very best product managers are really going to bring a business focus, and you want to be able to think holistically about how your product is fitting into a greater portfolio of assets that your company has. And, you know, there's so much that we have to do. Like you look at something as simple, and it's not simple, but it's pricing strategy. You need to have that business mindset to come to that. Otherwise, you're just kind of fumbling around in the dark for the light switch. I am embarrassed, and I won't say on your podcast some of the horrible pricing strategies that I created as a product manager that were just completely random made-up numbers because I had no idea how to go about it.
Well, that's what vanity metrics are for, right?
I guess.
We'll be successful when 10 people use this.
Yeah. I think another big thing, and I don't have the perfect answer for this, but it's something that I always was looking for as a product manager, is like have a group of other product managers that maybe don't work at your company, that you can come to and talk to and be a support group and just learn from them, but also have a sounding board and someone you can just like go off to that's